keep rising, as everybody knows.
Let me move to another area, too, because you are the guardian of the Constitution in the Congress. And it seems to me that you have been critical of some of the things that have been going on. What basically are you most critical of? Well, I'm talking about the performing as the Constitution and our forefathers originally intended.
Well, you know, we have been prevented from holding oversight hearings and inquiries and getting responses. The Judiciary Committee, which I was able to get become a member of thanks to the late Speaker John McCormick of Boston, Massachusetts. You remember him?
I sure do.
Because he was there when we got here.
You and I came to Congress at the same time.
Same day in 1964.
Right.
Elected in 64, started in January 4th, 65. But this committee has oversight over the Constitution and the amendments, and the Department of Justice, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the criminal justice system, and the federal corrections system, and immigration up till just recently was put under Homeland Security. All of these things are issues we regulate frequently the rules of the judiciary itself, the third branch of government. And what we have been worried about, just to tick off something, is this incredible finding of the politicalization of the Department of Justice. Now, this is a serious matter because we haven't had the election laws have not been taken care of very well. We have a lot of problems with our elections. We have the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, in which we determine under what grounds the government can investigate any of us or wiretap our phones or anything else. We have this whole problem of national security letters in which we caught the FBI writing letters about anybody they wanted to, asking people to report whatever information they wanted.
Have you referred these matters to your committee?
Oh, yes.
And they're actively working.
We're working night and day. As a matter of fact, we're working on the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act because we recently retreated to a place where the government could investigate us without going to the court to get approval. They said, well, things takes too long. We said, but wait a minute. That's what brought about the FISA Act in 1978 when you were in the Congress, because we found out it had gotten out of control. And now they say, well, we don't have time for all that. Well, we said, look, we'll give you 15 days to go in if you have to act right away. We found all kinds of abuses in terms of merely arresting people, locking them up, detaining them with no charges, and then months later letting them go. We found abuses in torture, violations of the Geneva Convention against torture, and in today's headlines in the New York Times, we find that the former Attorney General was secretly ordering all kinds of brutality and violence and intimidation and coercion to be permitted, even though they were saying, oh, we're against torture of any kind. But but they were very specific in it. And all this keeps coming out. So we are the busiest committee in the Congress.
But it has been said by some that some of these things are necessary in order to protect the United States from terrorism and the like.
Of course. Whoever the some are that said that, though, have forgotten that they put our troops in jeopardy when it becomes clear that we're not honoring the treaty against torture. Guess what that does to our troops? Then, of course, it's been proven so repeatedly, I don't think it would be mentioned seriously in the Congress, is that a person being tortured will agree to anything, will say anything. It's useless information.
That's what John McCain said.
Oh yes, John McCain was a leader on this subject.
On the question of constitutionality, the Supreme Court really is the final arbiter. Has the Supreme Court been politicized, do you think?
Well, I think the Supreme Court has moved from a more centrist position to the right. With the coming of Justice Thomas, well, first Justice Scalia, I don't want to mention this list without putting him at the head of it, Justice Thomas, and then Justice Roberts, and then Justice Alito, we have finally tipped the scale. And this is why the elections of next year become incredible, because the people that have supported abortion rights and civil liberties of many kind, the right to be free of search, unreasonable searches and seizures, and to fight warrantless wiretaps is very important, because there are lists of cases coming up now, Congressman Wolff, that will show us that we're going to get into a much more conservative posture. And you're right. The Supreme Court, as Justice Marshall, when it was first formed, said, we determine what is constitutional. Now, the Congress can go around them
by passing laws.
By passing laws that might make muster, might be finally okay. But unless they do that, they are the ones that do that. And we have a lot of members now, legislators, that want court stripping. They don't want the courts in certain areas. And I find that shocking.
Well, our system of checks and balances is the one that probably should guide us for our future. I want to thank you very much, Chairman Conyers, for appearing with us here today. I'm hopeful that this is just the beginning of a series of talks with you.
We have so much to talk about,
right,
and the time goes so quickly.
Right. Again, my thanks to you. And now until next week at the same time, this is Lester Wolff saying so long from Washington.